The British film Zulu, which was released in 1964, produced by that wonderful actor Sir Stanley Baker. Many of us will remember this film. It's a real classic, and it is responsible for turning many of us on to our interest in history. Certainly did it for me. Zulu film, wonderful film, great score, wonderful direction, great characters, spectacular battle, commemorating the defence of Rorke's Drift, January the 22nd to the 23rd, 1879, in the Zulu War, when the British colons invaded Zululand, completely unjustly, but that's another story. They don't go into that in the film. But the film itself is a wonderful yarn, really. It's got the basic facts there. Although it's such a great film, it is historically very, very flawed, as most of us with knowledge will know. But it did turn many of us on to, as I say, our great interest in history. There's the cattle over there. Hello, over the other side. I'm in the beautiful churchyard of St Andrew's Church in Churcham, because once again I've come seeking out the final resting place of a hero of Rorke's Drift, like I did in a previous video, getting honoured by the cattle over the wall there. And this time in the churchyard here, just behind me there, is the grave of Henry Hook. Now, if you saw the film, you'll be well aware of a great performance by the actor James Booth, in which he portrayed Henry Hook in a very entertaining, colourful way, but it was far from accurate. He portrayed him as a malingerer, a bit of a coward even, a drunkard, a barrack room lawyer who finds the best side of himself in the battle itself, when he took a huge part in the defence of the hospital at the mission station of Rorke's Drift, when him and about 140 of his comrades were trapped by thousands of Zulus who were coming from their great victory at Isandlwana earlier in the day. And they attacked the mission station thinking they would just overrun it, but the British troops there, they put up an incredible defence, and they held the Zulus off for a day and a night and part of the next day as well. And it went down into history. Probably would have been forgotten if it hadn't been for the Stanley Baker film, so we can certainly thank it for that. Anyway, Hook himself was anything but the personality that was portrayed by James Booth in that film, entertaining though it was. The real Hook was a model soldier, really. He was a teetotaler, he'd been a lay preacher, he was the cook of the hospital at Rorke's Drift. And when the attack started, he was assigned to the hospital, a small part of the hospital, with another soldier called Williams, and they defended the hospital until it was virtually being overrun. And what they had to do, there was only one way out, a doorway out, which was crowded with Zulus, and they had to defend the door while, Hook defended the door against all these Zulus hand to hand, whilst Williams chopped his way through the partition wall into the next room, and they were able to drag the wounded through. They did it again through the next room, hand to hand. Hook himself was wounded in the top of the head. He was wearing his helmet, his army issue helmet, and Assegai went into the top of the helmet, dug into his head. It was a wound that troubled him for the rest of his life. In fact, in photographs of Hook in later life, you can actually see the big scar down the middle of his head. It's not a parting, it is actually the wound. Always troubled him, that wound. Anyway, Hook, after the Zulu War, he was awarded one of the 11 Victoria Crosses, which were given to the defenders of Rorke's Drift. Incredible achievement. And here he is, his burial place. He bought himself out of the army after the Zulu War, but he went back into the army for quite a few years, and he ended up working in London in the British Museum. And his role there was apparently to look after the umbrellas of the visitors. Quite a contrast to what he'd achieved out in Zululand. Anyway, there he is, Henry Hook. And like with his commanding officer, Lieutenant John Chard, whose grave I honoured in a previous video, I would like to say, Henry Hook, VC, maximum respect, sir. I salute you.